Today, several Western countries recognize a Palestinian state, drawing condemnation from Israel. At Charlie Kirk's memorial, Trump rallies the MAGA faithful, while Erika Kirk forgives the shooter. The H-1B visa crackdown upends the Indian tech sector's playbook, and how Belarusian war games helped Minsk and Washington move closer together. It's Monday, September 22nd. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. I'm Tara Oakes in Liverpool.
To revive the hope of peace and a two-state solution, I state clearly, as Prime Minister of this great country, that the United Kingdom formally recognises the State of Palestine.
That announcement from British Prime Minister Keir Starmer came as the UK joined Canada, Australia and Portugal in formally recognising a Palestinian state. It marks a coordinated diplomatic shift ahead of the United Nations General Assembly. The move has already drawn sharp criticism from Israel and the United States. Our senior correspondent Nidal Al-Maghrabi breaks down what the recognition could mean for Palestinians.
Many see the recognition of the Palestinian state by more countries as just a mere gesture or symbolic, because none of those countries that have so far recognized the Palestinian state in practice will not have the ability to move forward or influence the things on the ground when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But the Palestinian Authority and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas are looking forward to that recognition, and they do not see it as a symbolic move. They see it as a step forward in the direction of gaining the concrete, substantial, on-the-ground independence of the Palestinian state. And by forging treaties with those countries, may make sanctions on Israel, economic sanctions, political sanctions, that will strengthen the Palestinian standing when it comes to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. It's not going to change the reality on the ground in a day or a night, but the Palestinians are hopeful towards this step, and they are looking forward to have more countries support the Palestinian right in an independent state.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas won't be attending the UN General Assembly in person. The United States denied him a visa, citing national security concerns. But he'll still be present, virtually.
The Palestinian president will still address the meeting and voice support and voice praise to those countries who came forward and recognized the Palestinian state.
And in New York, France and Saudi Arabia are convening dozens of world leaders to rally support for the two-state solution. Israel and the US will boycott the summit. That's according to Israel's UN ambassador, Dani Danon. And both countries have warned of consequences for those who take measures against Israel, including possibly annexing part of the occupied West Bank. US President Donald Trump has described Charlie Kirk as a martyr for American freedom. Speaking at Sunday's memorial service, Trump again accused what he called the radical left for Kirk's murder.
On campuses all over the country, his quest for open dialogue was met with menacing hate. There were bomb threats, pulled fire alarms, and countless rage-filled radicals who tried to shout him down. It was nasty.
The memorial in Glendale, Arizona, was organized by Kirk's conservative youth advocacy organization, Turning Point USA. Tens of thousands of mourners filled the State Farm Stadium, dressed in red, white, and blue, and holding Turning Point signs. Addressing the thousands in the crowd, Erika Kirk delivered a tearful tribute.
I love you, Charlie, baby. And I will make you proud.
Erika, who has now taken over as CEO of Turning Point, also offered forgiveness to the 22-year-old man charged with his murder.
I forgive him.
Trump took to the stage after that, with a speech that was more openly divisive.
He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry.
People had queued for hours
Eric.
to get into the stadium. And afterwards, one of them, 90-year-old Margie Favia, praised Erika Kirk for forgiving his killer.
She had so much reason to be angry and really want to get it even with them. But her heart knew in her Christian way that she should do what God wanted her to do.
Other speakers included Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Vice President J.D. Vance, who credited Kirk with helping get Trump elected last year. It's been a weekend of frantic phone calls and mass confusion over Trump's H-1B visa crackdown. Workers from India and China abandoning travel plans to rush back to the US to dodge the midnight deadline. The new $100,000 fee for H-1B visas is now in effect. But White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt made some clarifications on X. It's a one-time fee per new application, and it won't be applied to existing H-1B visa holders re-entering the country. The move upends the Indian IT's industry playbook, with the new cost likely to slow the country's strategy of rotating skilled workers into American projects. Kent Kedel is founder of Blue Ocean Advisors, a company that helps businesses understand risks around the world.
Impact. It's not going to be something that happens in the next year, but over a number of years, I think you are going to see a negative impact in the U.S. and a net positive for China.
The White House says the fee will level the playing field for American workers who, it says, are being replaced with lower-paid foreign workers. Trump's immigration crackdown on worker visas has kept market sentiment in check, and traders are looking ahead to a slew of speeches from Fed officials that could provide further clues on the US rate outlook. One of the most interesting will be from a new Fed Governor, Stephen Miron, later today. Markets will want to gauge what he thinks about Fed independence and what kind of influence the president might have. The Trump administration is imposing new restrictions on media coverage of the US military. A Department of Defense memo says journalists who publish unauthorized sensitive information could have their press credentials pulled. Media advocates say the restrictions will stifle independent reporting. The Pentagon is saying that information must be pre-approved for public release, even if it's unclassified. Russian anti-submarine aircraft taking off during huge war games in Belarus. The exercise last week had Eastern European NATO countries on high alert, with Russia increasing air activity near Poland and Estonia. On the ground in Belarus to observe the exercise were US military officers. That's the Belarusian defense minister welcoming 2 US military officers. The war games followed Belarus releasing 52 prisoners and Washington easing sanctions in return. Andrew Osborne digs into what's behind the diplomacy.
That definitely caused a stir. I think it's part of this attempt to have a rapprochement, kind of a warming of relations with Belarus. And why does Trump want that? Well, it's because Belarus is perhaps Russia's closest ally, and it's a channel of communication, another one, if you like, between him and Putin at a time when Trump has, of course, been trying to broker an end to the war in Ukraine. Belarus, of course, borders Ukraine, and it also borders NATO member states, Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia. So the spectacle, really, of these American military observers suddenly rocking up for these war games, I think was quite unsettling for those countries.
NATO will meet Tuesday to discuss Russia's violation of Estonian airspace last week. And for today's recommended read, the who's who of the TikTok deal. Trump announcing that media mogul Lachlan Murdoch, as well as business leaders Larry Ellison and Michael Dell, will be involved as investors to keep the social media app ticking over in the US. We'll drop a link to that story in the pod description. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. And if you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters, 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.